Hello. I got some requests to go over graphing inequalities because it seems like everybody's pretty good with open and closed circles, but it seems like we struggle sometimes with which direction to shade. So real quick review. If we have inequality signs like greater than and less than, they're going to have an open circle. Because that number, it's just a starting point. It is not included in the answer. If they have the line underneath, however, if it's greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, then it's going to be filled in because that number is part of the solution set. It's part of the answers because it could equal that number exactly. Equaling that number exactly is shown by a closed circle. Not equaling it, just it being the starting point, that's an open circle. I think it works for quite a few of my students because they would explain it to me this way when I asked them how they knew if it was open or closed. If you have to be extra with the sign to put the line underneath, you've got to be extra with your circle and you've got to fill it in. So hopefully that jogs your memory and will help you when we're going through and solving these problems. So here we see 4 is less than or equal to Q. 4 is less than or equal to Q. I know a lot of my students like to do that trick where they just see what direction the arrow is pointing and that helps them know where to shade. So sometimes it's easier to rewrite it so that that trick works. But for that to work, you have to do the variable first and then your number second. Here I see it's open, it's eating the Q. So because my numbers flip sides, my inequality has to flip directions too. So now I can reread this. I can see this as Q is greater than or equal to 4. Q is greater than or equal to 4. So there's my 4. Is this going to be an open circle or a closed circle? It should be closed because it could equal 4 exact. If it's got that little line underneath, it's going to be filled in. And now we want to think, do we shade to the left or to the right? To the left or to the right? And again, there's a few different ways to do it. One way is to think. Q is greater than 4. What does greater than mean? Greater than means bigger than. Greater means bigger than 4. So are my numbers to the left or to the right of 4 greater or bigger? My numbers to the right are bigger, are greater than 4. So I'd want to shade going to the right. Like I said, some of my students like to rewrite it this way so they can point the arrow and see my inequality sign points to the right, so I shade to the right. Or you could try substituting a number in. So instead of putting a Q, I could use a number on that side. Let's say 10. So I would think to myself, is 10 greater than or equal to 4? Yeah, 10 is. If I just did 0, 0 is not greater than 4. So 0 should not be part of my answer. Let's skip number 2 because it's very similar to number 1. Let's go down to number 3. A is greater than 5. A is greater than 5. So we know we've got to put a circle on 5, open or closed. Open circle. There is no line underneath, so 5 is not included in my answer. That's just the starting point. And now I want to think, am I going to shade to the left or am I going to shade to the right? This one's already written with the variable first. A is greater than 5. Greater than means bigger than. So hopefully you guys said that you should shade to the right. Again, you can also substitute a number in there. 0 is pretty easy to substitute in. Is 0 greater than 5? Is 0 bigger than 5? So that should not be part of my answer. Let's do this one here. 4 is greater than or equal to m. Let's rewrite it so we have that variable first. Because my number and my variable switch places, or flip-flop, my sign's going to flip-flop. So it should be open to the 4. Open to the 4, pointing to the m. I've got my line underneath. So m is less than or equal to 4. Is it going to be open or closed circle? Closed. Yeah, it has the line underneath of it. And then what direction are we going to shade? We should shade to the left. M is less than 4. My sign points to the left. Or less means smaller. Lesser than means smaller than 4. So we go to the left. I'm going to have you try number 5 and 7 on your own. Pause the video, try 5 and 7 on your own, and then play back and check with me, okay? Pause it, do 5 and 7 on your own. So for number 5, you should have a closed circle on 8 and shade to the right. X is greater than 8. Greater means bigger than. On 7, open circle on 13. 13 is greater than G, or G is less than 13. Less than means smaller. If you need to do more practice on these problems, I'm going to fill it all out real quick, and then at the end, I'll show the whole worksheet so you can pause and check the ones that you chose to do, okay? So go ahead, pick a few more out to try on your own. Pause the video though, so that you don't see the spoilers, and then you can check back, okay? Good luck. All right, go ahead, pause the video so that you can check all those ones up top, and then I'll slide the page up so that you can see the few on the bottom. Make sure that you've got the correct circle, open or closed, and make sure that you've shaded the right direction, because you get points for both of those things. Make sure you check the circle, and make sure that you've checked the direction. Pause the video, let me know how you did.